In this video, I'll be demonstrating the tooling techniques used in crafting the Elven Helmet. In our previous video, we built the helmet core, and in this lesson we'll be working on the front of the helmet called the visor, the top piece called the comb, and the back piece called the tail, which is where we'll be starting. Please note that the Elven series is designed to take you from intermediate to advanced leather crafting, so you may also get some value from watching some of the free videos in the Fantasy Armor series to dive into more of the basics. When preparing for tooling, the first step is going to be wetting the leather. It's such a simple thing on the surface, but getting the right moisture content makes a huge difference in the quality of your carving and tooling. There are many ways to go about it, but the easy method is to dip the leather into water for 2 to 3 seconds and set it aside for a few minutes to let the water wick into the leather and start to dry on the surface. When a lighter color starts to come back to the leather, that's getting near the sweet spot, but talking about it can only go so far. This is something you have to experience and experiment with over time. Tracing and cutting. When you trace your pieces onto the leather, don't cut them out just yet. I'll show you why in just a bit. It's also great to transfer any design lines or rivet indicators at this stage too while the leather is damp and able to easily take an impression. Carving. Carve the perimeter lines with a swivel knife using a firm pressure to make an aggressive cut. Initially, I did some test tooling on the outer area of the piece to determine the design I wanted. The tooling on many of the pieces of this armor will consist of a number of beveled borders, some internal tooling, and some texture. Use a compass or a wing divider to establish consistent border widths. You do not have to make a full perimeter around every piece. The patterns will give a good indication of where your border lines need to be. The way I like to approach this is to make a narrow border for the outer perimeter first. I'll freehand any internal points, and then carefully carve the guidelines. Then I'll make a slightly wider border within the last line, which will enclose a band of repeating geometric pattern. Then carve that one too. There are many parts to tool, so I have 2 compasses set to different widths so I can stay consistent across all of the pieces. And then I'll make the last internal border to make another narrow band, just to frame up the tooling nicely. Then I'll bevel all of the sides of each line. We will repeat this process across most of the pieces, so you can either tool one piece at a time to completion, or perform each step across all of the pieces as you go.